All right, we're live. Now, if anyone saw the live streams I attempted yesterday, I should have it all ironed out. There was a couple of weird settings. Anyway, it's nerd stuff, but I think I got it sorted out. Hey, Quinton, how are you, man? Welcome back. Sorry about yesterday. I was going to, there's like two servers that you can stream to on YouTube. Mine was going to like the backup server. So, yeah. I think I've got it. I think I've got it worked out. So hopefully you can hear everything. All right, let me know. All right, so we got Dylan. Welcome, man. We got Bumble. I think that's how you pronounce that. Quentin says, I heard a rumor about you. Maybe. I saw Tone King's live stream. I only just got home. I had it on in the background. We got GNN, Guitar News Network. That's an interesting channel name. I'll have to check that out. That sounds pretty cool. Long time listener, first time chatter. Awesome. Thanks, man. Jamal, welcome, mate. We got Joey as well. Cool. So the sound should be all good. I should be streaming much better than I did yesterday, so apologies. I had like 3 or 4 live streams where I couldn't get it to work, and then I realized there was a couple of things that went wrong. It kept pushing me to the backup server on YouTube, which isn't what I want to be on. So playing through the Kemper today. And this patch is it's Vibrolux, Fender Vibrolux, up at about, where's it up to? I think about 4 on the volume, so it's right in that sweet spot. We got Shred Before Dead, welcome man. I remember seeing that name a few times. Good evening from Western Canada, cool. Western Canada. We got Aussie from London. We got RBO. What's that? 2111 from. I don't know where he's from actually. Welcome, mate. It's hard to talk and play at the same time. I was trying to show off, but it failed. Neil from. He says, "Hey, new follower. Been listening lately. Great help picking amps. Thanks, man. Appreciate that." Love the show, watch you all the time. Thanks, man. Brett B, welcome. So yeah, I just thought I'd go in for a quick video and make sure everything was working after the last time things were embarrassing. For those who don't know, I'm like a qualified nerd. And when I have tech problems, man, I can't sleep until I work it out. And it took me a few goes, but I got it working in the end. Mark15 says, hey, I changed my stock speaker from my Blues Deluxe to a Swamp Thing. It completely changed it up. Absolutely. So the only thing with the Swamp Thing, depending on how loud you are, you just got to watch the presence or the top end. As you probably know, it's a very Fender-y speaker, and the louder you turn them up, the bigger and ballsier they get. They're really, really great. Yeah, I got one in mine, obviously, and massive improvement, so I'm glad to hear. I get asked that question all the time. What's the best speaker for a Hot Rod Deluxe or a Blues Deluxe? And I always say 1 or 2 speakers every single time. GNN's from Tennessee. I got to get there at one point. That's really cool. Vintage Dale says, thanks for the Patreon track today. Hey, no worries, man. So that particular song was that backing track. I can't remember. I think it was in A. It was like a... So it's kind of like a Van Morrison-inspired track, basically. Lovely Tokai. Got an LC a couple of months ago. Best buy I've ever made. Cool. Yeah, these are really nice guitars. You know, the neck pickup's probably not as bright as any of my other guitars, but with the right amp combination, it's great. I mean, the bridge pickup's just... It's really cool. I love the bridge pickup on this guitar. The neck pickup's got more of a mellow sound. Yeah, I got it out because I hadn't played it for a while and it's been sitting in the cupboard, wondering why. We've got Neil from Brisbane. Howdy, man. We've got DCA 31. Hello from France. Bonjour. It's all the French I know. No, actually, I know a few words in French, but nothing that is any relevant to any conversation you'd actually have. Have I ever tried the Epiphone DSP series amps? Yeah, if you're talking about the old ones, I have tried them. If there's any new ones, no. The ones I tried were around about 2008 or 9, possibly sometime around there, and they were okay. I wasn't overly blown away by them. I wanted to really love them when they came out, but yeah, I felt like they weren't for me. But for a home practice amp, they make some really good stuff. Where exactly do I set my presence? So top end is one of those things I set it differently depending on the room, right? So if I'm playing in a room with floorboards, I'll have it most of the way down or off. In most carpeted rooms I play in, I'll have the presence at 12 o'clock and I'll have the treble at about 10 or 11. I don't often go past there. It just depends on the situation. Like I said, I look at EQ like, I look at top end, especially like where am I playing and how much do I need for that particular point in time. But start with everything at 12 and just maybe turn the treble back a hair. And depending on if you're using pedals like Tubescreamers and that, you can use the bright switch still with that speaker and it should sound pretty good. If you're using a lot of pedals, leave the bright switch on and then kind of fiddle around with the treble control. That would be my 2 cents. I never used to use the actual bright switch at all, but yeah, over the last few years I've been using it a lot and I like it a lot. Philip from LA, welcome in. We've got Jamie from Pretoria. Is that how you pronounce that? I don't know where that is. Let me know where that is. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of that before. Brett says, Caline, Pure Sky, any thoughts? Great pedal. Caline are some of my favorite inexpensive pedals. They're great. They sound unique as well. They're not like 100% copies of everything that's out there. Some of them are heavily inspired by them, but the Pure Sky's great. Yeah, great pedal. Any suggestions on a wireless setup that doesn't screw up your signal sound? Yeah, absolutely. Just buy a Line 6 Relay G30. Great. I've been using one of them for years. I bought one in 2010. I've been using it all the time since. It feels great to play. I think with all wireless packs, once you turn your guitar most of the way down, you might experience some sort of like cutout point, but in terms of how it feels and sounds, the digital stuff's the way to go. Don't buy a UHF. Get 2.4 gigahertz. And that would be my suggestion. I love my G30, and it works really, really far. I got filmed walking through the crowd at this festival we did, probably 40 meters away from the stage, and it was still working fine. So just times that by 3, that's how many feet. It was a direct line of sight too, so it might not always work great, you know, if you're running around corners and all that kind of stuff, but just in point to point, it worked fine. So why Tokai and not Gibson? I've owned plenty of Gibsons over the years. I had a Gibson VOS series custom shop gold top a while back with P90s, and I had this, and in the hand they felt identical, and I played this one the most. So yeah, I like Tokai because they're readily available in Australia. Hey Shane, I got my first gig next week. Thanks for your advice on overcoming stage fright. Hey, no worries. I can't remember what I suggested, but yeah, just be comfortable with how you play and where you're at, and it's all a learning experience. You know, I played with a couple of fairly seasoned guys last night who appeared to get visibly nervous. Not all of them, but just a couple of them. And yeah, I think that's one of those things. The more comfortable you are with your own headspace, the less nervous you're going to get. And it's just something that you grow into it over time. So just keep playing live, hit the jam nights, do gigs, all that kind of stuff. It'll really help your playing and confidence and all that. Any Anyone ever feel like quitting guitar? I have a few times. I don't know if I've ever wanted to quit, but I've wanted to, I take breaks from it from time to time. It usually comes when you're not challenging yourself and you get bored. What pickups sound best in your opinion for Les Pauls? There's a really good one I played called the Les Paul Classic. Whatever pickups are in there from memory were awesome. I think they were like burst buckers or something possibly. Any of the PAF ones are good too, the PAF ones. You'll get like the less hot the humbuckers are, the brighter they sound, or the nicer they sound on the top end, in my opinion. There's some really cool sort of active pickups in that out there as well, but hotter's not always better when it comes to humbuckers. That's my 2 cents. Good to see you live. Cheers from Orlando. That's from Patrick. Thanks, man. Orlando, I've been there a number of times over the years. We've got John. Welcome, man. Pretoria is in South Africa. Ah, cool. Awesome stuff. So Rick and I just shot our first 10 videos for the Sky Music YouTube channel. I've been hired to produce a whole bunch of videos for their own presence online with full creative control over all of the videos, and some of the videos are going to be fun. So these aren't going to be like sales pitch videos. This is like, how does this sound against that? What does that sound like on 10? Let's plug into an amp and dime it and see what happens. So it's a lot of fun. If you want to subscribe to that channel as well, if you go to my homepage on YouTube, there'll be a list of channels on the right. Just you'll see it there. So that's the official one. If you search for it, it's really hard to find because there's no videos on there yet. Quentin James says, New Rooms gave me this gitters, but after the first song I was fine. Cocaine helps. Do you have a... Do I have only one PRS? Yeah, I've got the SE, one of the new ones. I love it. I played a gig last night. I had the SE and my Telecaster. And now I put the Bardens back in my my Tele. And I got to say, both of those are really, really great guitars. You know, like they're my 2 favorites currently. I go through these weird phases with stuff where then I'll only play this or I'll play my 335. But just pure functionality and feel-wise, they're great. Now, I have found one thing with the PRS SE that I don't like, and this has just come to my attention sort of recently, that the fact I want to change the volume pot on there, because I find like if I turn it to a point almost off, not like say I've got it on 3, you'll lose a lot of the actual feel of the guitar volume and oomph just dissipates. You're only left with this clacky top end, which is something I don't really like. So I'm going to try changing the pot in that and see if it helps. I got a whole bunch of really good CTS pots, or Emerson Pro pots, I should say, which are kind of the same thing, but they're made in the US. So I'm going to try a few of them in there and see if that sort of helps the taper of that guitar. What's my favorite whiskey? Oh, I just left a drink in the fridge. You reminded me. I got to get it out. It's in the freezer. I'll get it out in a sec. So what's the news about you and Dr. Ric? So last year, everyone will remember I didn't want to go to GuitCon because I had a few personal reasons I didn't want to go. And it wasn't something I thought I'd be that interested in. And there's a few people there, sadly, that I don't think I get along with very well. And I got invited this year, and I thought, I don't really want to go this year either. Like, that was the news. And then I had a chat to Rick. He's like, man, I'd love to go. It's a great opportunity. You should do it. And then I thought, you know what? You only go around once. So I thought, the only way I'm going to go is if I can get Dr. Ric to come with me. So I sent Dimitri, the guy organizing it, an email back. I said, look, Rick helps me so much with my channel. I know I'm the face of it, but he's on over 100 videos. We just shot 10 more the night before. And I thought, I'd love to say thanks to Rick for all his help by giving him this opportunity as well. So, yeah, and after chatting with Lewis and a few of the other guys, I thought, you know what, maybe I'll go this year. So that's I know that's kind of against the grain, but I think people trust me enough to know that whatever we do there will be on our own terms, and that's the plan. There's no expectation of video content. I'm not going to spam out video content from it. I thought what I'd do is kind of like maybe vlog the entire thing and put it in one big video. And we get to play live there as well, so that'll be fun. So all being well, I'm still yet to get 100% confirmation on everything, but yeah, Ric's going to go, so I'm going to go. I thought that would be cool for us to both be there. If he couldn't go, I wasn't going to go at all. So that's the tentative news on it. So people will either, I did run a little thing on my feed on YouTube explaining a little bit about it, but that's kind of like the inside scoop. I thought, you know what, I'd love to be able to offer him something for his help, and he never wants money or anything like that. So he does it out of the fact that he loves it, and I can't really ever give him anything because he doesn't need much. So this is cool. It's a fun opportunity. What's my favorite blues lick? So I got a few. One of my favorite intro licks is from Albert Collins. At least that's who I stole it from. So if you're in the key of A and you start off a blues, it's like this. Just nice and chilled. I love that. I love this one as well. I got this from Chris Caline. You see me play that a lot. That's one of his. I don't have one favorite blues lick, but these are the ones that I kind of like the most. I love this Stevie Ray one I pinched years ago. That's the butchered Les Paul version of it. Albert King's got a whole lot of stuff I love as well. So I got two cameras here. It's getting confusing. This is the camera. Where he goes like... Oh, And then my other favorite ones would be like the BB King style ones where, Another one I'm really digging at the moment is this one. So we're in A. It sort of starts off the major. It's kind of a good sort of mix of major and minor tones there. It's pretty cool. So glad you were going. I think you'll have a blast. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, look, the last one left me with a bit of negative. Just personally, I didn't feel comfortable going. I don't want to get too far into it, but yeah, I wasn't comfortable going there at all. So there was no way I was going to do it. Both personally and where I see my channel in its place on YouTube, I don't like to follow everybody else with what I do, and not to say everyone's doing the same thing, because that's not the case, but I kind of like to do different things. And this year I thought, who knows, I might not go around again. This might be the last one. So I thought to go somewhere new that I've never been, I thought, that's an experience within itself, even though it's only for a few days. I renewed my passport yesterday. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good time. I just got a feeling, like I said, if I couldn't wrangle Ric to come over, I wasn't going to go. They were going to fly me business class, and I took one for the team. We're going to go economy, which is what I'm used to anyway, but Ric might not be used to that. But yeah, we're going to go have some fun over there. So we're going to try and get some Guitar Search Saturdays done if there's time, and I can get out there and shoot some videos at guitar shops. It's going to happen. So yeah, I'm going to plan on doing more than just going there and doing whatever everyone else is doing. Have I ever tried any Gibson Explorers in lefty? I'm really digging the 2018 Antique Natural. No, I haven't. I haven't tried that one yet. So I don't think I've ever picked up a left-handed Explorer other than an Epiphone one. Love rock rules. So I might dial in let's get some dirty tones. Sorry guys, I got the burps. Just had some lunch. Let's go to this one. We'll see what this one sounds like. This is called Match Lightning 15. It's really loud. Hang on. me bring that down. Let's try this. Oh, what just happened then? Oh, I rolled over my cable. What do I think of gear YouTubers who are bad at playing guitar? Look, I think nearly every guitar player will cop people saying you're crap. I still get that. I get people who disagree with something I say and they tell me how crap a guitar player I am. And they don't have a YouTube channel. So I think everybody that does YouTube is at a different place, and that appeals to people at different places musically. Like there's guys who won't watch my channel because they play metal, right? And that's fine. There's guys that will watch my channel and they'll be much better guitar players than I am. But they get value out of it based on my style. And then you've got guys who maybe aren't as good as where I'm at musically, maybe. And that will appeal to people who aren't as good as them because they've got a reference point. So I almost don't think it comes down so much to the playing. You know, a lot of people get caught up in the playing and they watch the pros and they go, wow, this sounds amazing. They'll go out and buy it. But, you know, there's some professionals that are on YouTube. Like, that's what they do. They're, you know, touring musos. So people have to keep that in mind. Like, the common guy won't make it sound like some of these pros. So I think it's good that there's a mix of people at all skills. And over time, you get better. I mean, look at my earlier videos. They're not very good. So, you know, that's just one of those things. Quentin says, shared you in 3 faceplant groups. Faceplanet groups. I don't know what that is. What is that? But thanks. So we played some, let's turn some delay on here. So last night I played a birthday party for a friend who owns a pub with the boys, Brian and a couple of the other guys. And we were playing some sort of cover songs last night. We were rocking out with... tone's pretty cool. Alright, where can I find posters like that behind you? So what I do, I go to google.com, I type in band posters, I click images, I save the highest resolution ones I can find to a USB stick, and then I take them to a shop here called Officeworks, which is like a office supply store. I'm not sure where you're from, so you know, just look up an office supply store. And they usually have really good printing facilities, so like $1.20 a page or something, I can print them out, and I cut, you know, I blue tacked them to the wall. yeah, that's the song. Oh. That's one of the first songs I learnt from memory. Like, we played it once at the jam, and I actually was playing bass on it. I'm like, this is pretty easy. And then the day before the gig, I just sat down, I played the chords. I was like, yeah, I got this. Oh no, it was actually last week. Actually, I sat down and did that. And yeah, I was like, I think this is a pretty easy song, and it's rocking, man. It's rocking in the free world. Have I seen Neil Young playing that on Saturday Night Live? It's amazing. No, I haven't. You know what? Neil Young's one of those guys. I know like his songs, but I've never really looked into the guy. So I might have to binge watch a whole lot of stuff on YouTube and just, you know, see what I think. Do I think the Tubescreamer is overrated? No, because they're great. You could pretty much get your sound out of a Tubescreamer and save yourself a whole lot of money on overdrive pedals. Tubescreamer can almost do everything, you know, and it makes you sound better in the mix. Ben, hey, thanks, man, mate. I cannot get enough of your vibrato. What was your journey to improve vibrato? So watch a DVD or get online and watch Eric Clapton 24 Nights. and that's it, and imitate that. Because the trick to playing good vibrato, a lot of guys will just go, and you just want to get a baseball bat and go gunk, because you're playing a slow blues. The trick is sort of sometimes with how I feel about vibrato is tempo of it's really important. And then also being able to play it without starting with it. So you roll into a note. And then you vibrato after it. Or when you bend. I don't know what key I'm in here. Let's go B. So yeah, I think for just watch 24 Nights. It's all in the touch, Yeah, I always like Clapton's got the best vibrato because he never just stings it all the time like a lot of guys do. He'll kind of, it's a finesse thing, and Knopfler as well. All that sort of like Knopfler and Clapton. Just listen to more of them. Behringer interface you reviewed, or is that the Scarlett or Presonus? So what I'm plugged into now is the UR22. The reason I'm plugged into that is because it's hooked up, and that's just how it is. The other one will be used probably as a portable sound card for me. When I record with the Mac, I'm going to take it somewhere, the little laptop thing, I can plug that in and I'm good to go. It's a great little unit. Yeah, so actually, I'll tell you what, I've got a few more ideas for music gear on a budget videos. They seem to be going over really well. And I'm more than happy to take on suggestions too. So the way this works, because I'm using the Amazon affiliate links, the way this series is working, I had like 17 or 18 people buy one of those mics pretty much straight away. And now I get a gift voucher from Amazon, which I'm then going to put it back into buying more stuff to use for videos. So it just sort of like is a perpetual series based on how well it does. So yeah, if you have some suggestions for other really cool music stuff that you want to hear that's budget orientated that I can get off there, then let's do it. 90s Clapton is underrated. And absolutely 90s Clapton's the best Clapton, hands down. I know a lot of people rave about Cream, all the old guys, but his blues playing was never better than in the 90s. Like, just so good. I know you're an Albert King fan, but what about Albert Collins? Oh, Albert Collins is awesome. I love Albert Collins. He's probably the most humorous and enjoyable blues guy out there with the most impressive just sound and attack and originality, man. I mean, Albert King had all the originality in the world, but Albert Collins is fantastic, man. There's no one else that plays like Albert Collins. No one could even imitate his sound. Stevie Ray copied Albert King and Hendrix. I mean, he came out with something else, but out of that. But Stevie's an Albert King clone in many ways. All that, all that sort of stuff he does. No one sounds like Albert Collins, and I don't know why. My Amazon mic tracking says it'll be in Melbourne, hopefully. Make it to Taz early next week. Awesome, man. Yeah, Amazon's really fast. Just when you think it's going to take like a week or two to get here, longer than you think, it's already arrived. So, yeah. In the blues, that sounds great. What kind of pickups are in it? So, just stock. This is all stock. The only thing I changed recently on this was the strap locks. I put strap locks on all my guitars finally. Budget interface and amp, all portable, maybe even DAW software. Thank you. That's a good suggestion. Here's a good question. Oh, actually, that's a good, interesting observation. JP Custom Guitar says, Kenny Wayne Shepherd is to SRV as to Johnny Lang is to Albert Collins. Yeah, there's some similarities between Johnny Lang and Albert Collins, but Albert Collins, man, his attack and execution second to none. You know, like, yeah, Kenny Wayne Shepherd is he for a long time there he was doing that SRV thing, and he still sort of does. I would much prefer to listen to Johnny Lang over Kenny Wayne Shepherd. I really like his stuff. But I hear some of Albert Collins in Johnny Lang, but not a lot. It's just the funk, the execution, they're just kind of similar, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I just had a question here. I'm just going to scroll back up. I seem to have... The chat has moved. Let's move this over. I'm going to pop the chat out so I can see what's going on. All right. Can I please explain why I like swapping the speakers out in your Fender Blues Deluxe? I love the sound of mine. Just curious to what makes it sound better. So if you're playing at home, it makes no difference. What I find with the stock Fender Eminence speaker is when you turn them up, they get nasty. They get really, really bright and they're unbalanced. So you're hearing all tops and all bottoms. And the nice frequency that should push out of the mix doesn't. I've persisted with the stock speaker a few times, and it's like a blizzard of nails once you turn it up. At lower volumes, it's all right. But if you've got the amp on 4 or 5, it's just a nasty sound to my ear. So what happens when you change the speaker is you're essentially like, you can basically, it's got to transform that sound into something completely different. So for me, you get a tighter, more functional low end, a bit more of an even sort of frequency across the board. Depending on what speaker you want to use as well, and just a louder, cleaner headroom speaker. The Fender Eminence speakers distort early as well, so you not only get output stage distortion on your tubes or valves, you're also getting speaker distortion, which I don't like. So a high headroom speaker like the Swamp Thing keeps the Fender sound, but it doesn't break up as easy. So you have to run the amp on like 6 or 7 before you're ever going to get the speaker to get dirty, which gives you a cleaner sound and, in my opinion, a nicer sound to my ear. But this is all subjective stuff. Not everyone likes the same stuff I do. So, yeah, that's... I know what I like when I hear it, and I know out of owning 2 Fender Blues Deluxe amps, changing the speaker was the best thing I ever did, especially when you're turning them up loud. But like I said, home volume, or if you're at a shop playing them, they're going to sound great, right? It's just once you get them past that point, they can get a little nasty. Buddy Guy ain't too shabby. Yeah, Buddy Guy's great, man. One of the best bands you'll ever see, a blues band. Buddy Guy. Just, his band is so good. I have $1,200. What guitar should I look for? Well, it just depends on where you live, because $1,200 here is very different to $1,200 in the US. So, depends what I would suggest to you. Go find, if you've got it burning a hole in your pocket, don't double up on something you already have. If you don't already have a guitar and you're looking for one, my suggestion would be find out what your favorite guitar players are playing and go for something along that line, whether it's a Strat, a 335, or a Les Paul or something. So it all comes down to what you need and what you like the sound of, and maybe also something that you don't have. There's no point owning, well, in my opinion, like 4 or 5 Strats. You'd be better off owning like a couple of different guitars for different genres of music or different inspiration. The way I might play this is different to how I'll play my Telecaster in some ways. Although I can do the same thing on this will lend itself more to, that fatter, longer to sustain and all that. Fernando says, have you recorded with a Kemper? I own one and it seems to have some weird phase issues. It gets lost in the mix. Absolutely not. I love it. You're listening to it now. I'm putting together a JJ Cale album, like a tribute one that's nearly finished. And I went from using my amps with the 2 notes to using the Kemper. And it's unbelievable. Like all the guitar like intro clips you see me shoot, where I've got like the Strat one I just did, that was all done on the Kemper. Straight into the computer with no added effects or post-production. So there might be something wrong with it possibly, or maybe what my suggestion would be to reset it to default and see if you can, like, if that fixes the problem. But I'm using the XLR out straight into the XLR in on the front of my sound card, and it's awesome. I love it. That's what you're listening to now. I don't even know what this amp is. It's just Match Lightning. So yeah, we've got a whole lot of different amps available here. I got this pack from Tone Junkies. Let's crank on a Vox. Any Vox fans here? Let's try this. This is supposed to be a Vox. Might seem like a strange question, but do you know of any good IT guys who are around your area? I thought you might considering. Yeah, I've worked in the field. Yeah, absolutely. Just depends on what niche, depends on what you're looking for. But yeah, I know a lot of guys in that industry, absolutely. Tony's very subjective. The challenge is getting the sound in your head out of your gear. And that's exactly right. So to dial in a good sound, you have to be able to hear it in your head. And that's the trick. Once you can do that, you can walk over to any amp, PV Bandit, whatever, and try to dial that in. That's the best way of getting around making your tone unique. And I'm out of tune, am I? Sorry. So I fixed the intonation on this, but it's been sitting in the cupboard for. Yeah, it is out of tune. Let's try that. Welcome, Sonia. Thanks for stopping in. Dan, welcome. PV Classic 50 might be the best amp I played. Underrated. Yeah, they're good amps. I think another one of their amps that's severely underrated is their 410s, like the super reverb of PV, basically. The Classic 410. That amp has probably the best tone I've ever heard live. Unmiked on the clean. It was like godly. It may actually be better than... It may actually be better in some ways than the Super Reverb in terms of headroom. I think it might stay cleaner. What cables am I using? Are they Conquest? I don't know what these are. These were sent with a pedal board I demoed a while back called the Box King. This is one of those silent plugs. Here's my camera here. So I can literally plug it in and out. You're not going to hear it go clunk. I wish all cable companies made that. I can swap guitars without hearing any nasty things. I didn't know Tone King was going to go live today. I would have hung around for it, but I actually went out. I had to get a few things done. So coming up tonight, you can see this little amp behind me here. This little Moore thing rocks big time. So I reckon a few people might get a kick out of that. It's a really, really fun little amp. And in terms of a home practice amp, this thing's great. I'm a huge fan of just. It's kind of like the Boss, Boss Katana. They made that little one. It's like a better version of that. It's got more effects, more amp tones, more versatility. You can store presets, and it's really functional. You don't need to hook it up to a computer. You can use it as a Bluetooth speaker. It rocks. So yeah, the video is going up tonight for that thing. If you're online later on, you can check it out. All right, speaking of Vox, any idea what I can change my AC for to get more bass? You kind of need to probably, if you bought the actual combo, you'd have to plug it into a bigger box. That's really all you can do. I think they've got an output on the back, like a 16 ohm output. You could plug it into, say, a single 112 or a 212 or something like that and get a much bigger sound. But yeah, there's not a whole lot you can really do, because if you start putting like EQ pedals and that on, it's just going to distort. 4-watt amps can't really handle a whole lot of, of sort of push on the front end. What young or modern musicians are you listening to? Ah, that's a good question. Not a lot would be my would be my quick answer. There's nothing that I've really been that blown away by. I gotta say, probably there's a band called Backdoor Slam from England who they named that band after Robert Cray's song. They're really, really good. They do like blues stuff. But yeah, I haven't really been listening to a whole lot of great or new stuff. It's just not really on my radar. Played a 2 Rock classic reverb tonight. I was blown away. Nice. I've actually got some 2 Rock Kemper profiles here too. But yeah, they're great amps, man. My friend Ryan's got one. It's a beast. I had a Mace 60. It was so freaking loud. Yeah. Those PV Classics were essentially Vox clones inside. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like the Blues Junior and the Vox AC15 are essentially the same thing. Like, minus the fact one's got a mids control and one's got a tremolo system. Like, they're essentially the same amp. Just the box is different. Rick and I actually shot a video about the new Blues Junior 4 versus the Vox AC15 C1. And it was surprising because they're both technically the same output and all that kind of stuff. The box makes the Vox sound bigger, kind of, in some ways. Not necessarily better, but just in the room you notice that the box size helps. And that goes back to that Vox question before. To get more bass, you kind of need a bigger cabinet, you need a bigger speaker. So maybe try an external cabinet. Larry from West Virginia, welcome. What brand tubes do I recommend? I usually go for JJ's. It's kind of like price versus performance for me. I have very rarely had any problems with JJ's. Especially in EL84 amps, like when I owned my PV Delta Blues and my Fender Excelsior, I think it was, had EL84s, I think. I've had other amps over the years, Vox as well. If I needed to replace them, I'd put JJ's in. They were just a good price and they're fine. Like, yeah. I actually don't mind the groove tubes. I know a lot of people probably won't like them, but I really like them. I've had very, very few experiences where I've needed to change the groove tubes out of a Fender amp. Like, that's all stock. My Blues Deluxe, which I've used to death, is still all stock. I haven't had to change anything. I'm just going to grab my drink out the fridge. I'll be like 15 seconds. It's right here. Hang on, one sec. All right, had a late night last night. I'm feeling husky. Yeah. So what I'm going to do coming up on these live streams is I'm going to hook a mixer up, or my other little my little mixer, and I'm going to do some like backing track live jam things coming up. So stay tuned for that. I don't know exactly when that'll happen, but it'll happen pretty soon. Pork Chop SRV says, or Backdoor Slam in Deep Ellum, Dallas, Texas. Davey Knowles is a great frontman and a great blues guitar slinger. Yeah, he's great. Slinger, I guess that's supposed to say. Yeah, but yeah, he's great, man. Hey, Terry, welcome, man. Yeah, Ben, that 24 Nights concert's really good. There's a lot of really tasty chops in there. that version of Have You Ever Loved a Woman on there is one of my favorites. It's just, it's really great. Like, I used to be able to play a lot of that. Yeah, a lot of the stuff I play, I ripped out of that song. It's a really great version. Left stage for Pepsi Max this time. I got one of these guys. This is the keep me awake beverage of choice. Slanger is Texas for slinger. I like it. Old Metal Dude just said, I got a used Marshall MG DFX 100 112 combo. The old one's made in Korea. I'm really digging it. So he asks if I ever played one. I finally got to play one. And I had no expectations of it. And Rick and I did a video. I was playing through the MGF CFX or whatever it's called, 30 or 50. So it's a single 12 combo, but it's like 50 watts, I think. And he's playing through the Fender Mustang GT 100, and the Marshall killed it. It ate it alive. So, you know, I see that sitting in the shop all the time. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll try that one day, and I never do. So we finally did a video on like budget gear, and at least for the Sky Music thing, and yeah, we were like, man, this is awesome. Like, I was really shocked at how great it sounded. So I'm gonna take do a video of it here for the In the Blues channel. It was surprisingly good. I had no expectations of it, had none, and I thought, wow, what a great tone. It feels very analog, like my PV Bandit does. So, yeah. Brett says, thanks for shedding light on the Tubescreamer. No worries. I don't think you can go wrong with a Tubescreamer. Look, there's certain situations where that might not work, but you can use them as rhythm pedals. You can use them as lead pedals. You can use them stacked into another pedal. They do a lot of really good things. Terry, that sounds like rubbish, mate. If that was true, it would be off the market. That's one of those internet rumors, man. And just to let you know, biologically, we have the equivalent of sulfuric acid in our stomach. So I reckon I could break that down. All right, let's get off this box. Who wants to hear a bassman cranked? What do we got here? 573 patches. Should I go to my... Let's try this. This is a 2-rock with a Tubescreamer. Or Sparkle Drive, I should say. Or hang on, which one's this one? That sounds horrible. Let's get out of that. We'll get into a better... I'll go to one of mine. That way I know what I'm doing. Alright, DSL 40. So this is the profile I made off my amp with some delay. There we go. I love this patch. Well, it sounds kind of rolled out. Those Marshall MG 100 DFX are really cheap also. Yeah, they are. I was really surprised how good they sounded. And I looked at them and I kind of felt sorry for them. I've seen that amp in the shop for a long time, but it might be one of the might be a bit of a hidden gem. I don't want to speak too soon about it, but I was really blown away. It had a big 3D sound, and listening back on the recordings, it sounded like a legit amp. Like, I mean, you know, it's got the analog side to it on the most part. It's got the digital effects, but yeah, it was very, very cool. Sun Lounger 29, first time I watch you live from Germany. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's a bit of a different time of the day here for me to stream. I always like to try to mix it up. Did I try the free MBrit profiles in the Kemper library manager? There's a Dumble in there. No, but I can dig it up. MBrit. Okay. Hang on, where'd you say they were? In the MBrit profiles. Okay. I don't know where they are, man. I've got the thing on screen here, but... Oh, yeah, okay. What's it called, that one, do you know? There's a dumble in there. Okay. I don't know what it will be called. Oh, this might be it. Let's have a listen. Is that it? Yeah, it is. Sounds like my Marshall. Swap guitars. Let's give this a rip. It's nice. It's pretty nice. I'm gonna have to. I would probably just turn up the treble a hair. I think that's that Dumble sound, that rolled out kind of vibe. YouTuber Dave Simpson does a great review of the MG Marshall. Oh, he's great. I've been subscribed to him for probably 10 years. So, not that long, but a long, long time. He's one of the first guys I remember subscribing to, another guitar guy. Yeah, he's a nice dude too. I've only emailed back and forth with him a couple of times, but I actually asked him whether or not he'd be on the last, YouTuber thing that I held on my channel, but I didn't get a reply, so he might not have got it. I'll try and get him onto a future one as well. There's a couple of other guys that I definitely want to have on that I haven't spoken to before. What do I think of the Scarlett Solo interface? I plan on to start recording music on my laptop. It's my first time recording. Look, I haven't tried that one. I mean, the Focusrite stuff is generally pretty good. Is it any better than sort of like the Behringer stuff or the Steinberg stuff? It's sort of subjective, man, but if it's got the basics on there, like an XLR input and a line input, you should be good. The only one thing that some of these smaller units, and I haven't seen this particular one, sometimes lack, is a mix control. So ideally what you want to be able to do is listen back to what you've recorded and lay another track over it. Some of them don't have an option to turn up or down the ratio of the mix between what you're hearing and what you're hearing back and what you're recording. So if it doesn't have a mix control, sometimes that can be a problem, or even a direct option so you can at least hear it back. Make sure it's got some sort of function that allows you to multi-track, so you can hear what you're singing or playing back over the top of what you've already recorded. That's my 2 cents. But they're all pretty much the same. Like, I don't think you're gonna be too dissatisfied. Maybe 10 years ago though, there were some duds out there, but today, the Behringer one I got was awesome. Like, if I was using that now, it wouldn't sound any different. The preamps on there are good. They're built well. They're, metallic bodies, and yeah, they're just good. So, could you please make a top? Make a top with the 3 pedals made in the USA for most used by USA bands versus 3 pedals made in the UK. Oh, that's a good idea. I don't know if there's. That would take a little bit of research, but it's weird because then it comes down to. I don't think it necessarily comes down to what pedals the bands are using almost. I think it's like what style of music are they playing. That would be what determines what pedals they'd be using, I reckon. You probably find a lot of the guys in the UK are using American-made stuff. I mean, that's probably the most popular stuff globally, even though I think like the stuff out of Europe is probably the best now. Just generally, like there's a lot of great stuff made in the US, and I own a lot of pedals from there, and they're great, but the stuff that's coming out of Greece, man, it's really good. But yeah, I'll think about that. Maybe there's a way I can do that. There you go. Jack Daniels replied about the Focusrite question there, so you can check that out. Quicksilver said, I heard good things about the custom with a K, which is the right way of spelling it. So KG100HFX. It's well under 200. Is that euros? Or is that pounds? No, it's euros. Okay, cool. Ronnie McRae says, picked up a 60s American original Strat. I've been super happy with it. Have you ever tried one? Yeah, they're awesome. The best Strats and Tallies I've played are that series. I've got the Telecast 50s Tally review coming up as well. And it is awesome. It's such a great guitar. Like, that whole series is awesome. The 50s one was my personal favorite. The 60s one was great. Just really, really good guitars. I reckon they're the best guitars Fender have made. So, at least the ones out of the ones I've played. They come in at a fairly decent price considering, and they're really, really good. Oh, that's not a bad tone. I don't know how that's coming through over the interwebs, but what brand strings do I like best? Whichever ones are the most cost effective between Diodarios and Ernie Balls. Anything that's got a sealed packet as well. I used to buy web strings all the time, but then like, they're a great string, but if you don't use them quickly, they can deteriorate or rust because they're not sealed. So they're the two brands I basically live by. In my drawer over here, that's all I've got: Diodarios and Ernie Balls. Either 11 to 48s or 10 to 46s, I think. I used to only play 11s, but now I'm playing 10s a bit as well. 10s on my PRS and 10s on my... what's the other guitar I've got them on? I don't know. One of them. Maybe my Tally? I don't know. I can't remember. Shred Before Dead. I've been mountain biking for 3 days straight. I would like to stay and hang out, but I'm out of gas. Hey, no worries, man. Have a good night. And we've got someone, is it Jarsi? It says gracias. I can't read the rest, unfortunately, but thank you for hanging out. Sounds good here. Awesome. What software do I use for recording? So basically it's Cubase. It's like an old version called Nuendo, which I've had for years. I've used Adobe Audition 3, was probably one of the ones I used the most. And then I also I've been using Nuendo now for probably 5 albums, 6 albums. Not just myself, but for the albums I've produced for other people. And it's great. So Cubase is what I use. There's no benefit to using Pro Tools over Cubase, or no real benefit of using Cubase over Pro Tools or Reaper. Reaper's great as well. I've used that a little bit as well. So it sort of comes down to what you know, and what you put into it is what you get. So one doesn't sound better than the other. That's a huge misconception. It's just about its functionality and all that kind of stuff. So for me personally, I go with what I know when I do audio stuff, and that's Cubase. It's the same thing. Stop No Names, welcome, man. Feeling out of place with my acoustic at the moment. Yeah. About that tone, it's all right. It's all right. Let's rock out. What do we got here? This one's called oh, it didn't load. Hang on. Gotta get the wig out. While you're trying out some new profiles, check out the Tom Jimmy rig pack. He goes for vintage stuff. Cool. So I got a lesson. I just read lesson. I've got a video coming up of the Tone Junkies TV patches, or Tone Junkies patches, which are pretty cool. There's some good ones in there. Desert Island acoustic. What are you talking? What are you taking? I probably take the only one that I've played recently that I loved, and I've tried a lot of acoustics over the last few years. Well, there's a couple. I played a really great Martin acoustic from the 60s, but I couldn't. There's no way I could afford that, right? It was beautiful. This is Jerry's Lefty guitars. It's killer. But with the exception of that, I would take a Taylor Mini GS1. Unbelievable guitar. I could play that all day. I'm waiting for one to come back in at Sky Music. I'm going to buy it at some point. Does the Kemper feel like a real amp? That's from Michael. So you're actually recording your amp. So it's taking the amp, the mic, the speaker, and taking that snapshot of that sound at that particular time with those settings. So that's what you're getting. So yeah, it feels, the recorded sound is exactly the same as what you get. But the difference is you don't have that wall of sound interaction behind you. So I'm not feeling like the sustain's going to oscillate my guitar and, you know, that the volume's going to sort of shake the strings and I get that feedback loop. So getting that's a little bit different. But in terms of just a straight up recorded tone, it's really, really good. Yeah, I'm probably a little behind the chat too because I'm trying to get through all the comments here without missing too much stuff. But yeah, the Taylor GS Mini would be the one that I liked the most, and I should have bought that when I had the chance to, but I didn't. It was really good. So we've got 85 folks here. Well done. That's cool. So if you're enjoying the video, guys, please give it the thumbs up. Appreciate that. We'll hang around for a little bit more. I'm gonna take the PV Bandit out for a blast tomorrow. It's been a little while since I took it to the jam. Oh, not that long, but maybe 3 weeks or so. Good morning from Italy. Buongiorno. Buongiorno, Marco. Awesome stuff. It seems funny, like all the solid state amps from the Bandit, Marshall, Custom, Fender, etc. from the late 90s, 2000s sounded the best. Yeah, I totally agree. I would take them over like Tech 21 stuff that was more recent, which I've owned as well. The Bandit, the Fender, whatever that Fender I demoed in San Francisco was, that was so good. The name of it slipped my mind. It looked like a Princeton, but it was a little bit different. Solid state, loud as nobody's business, and just unbelievable. What's my favorite place in the States? I really love Sarasota and Bradenton in Florida. I think that's really nice. I like the laid back side of the US a lot. I also like the cities. Like I love Chicago. I love San Francisco for some things and not for others. But yeah, I go to where most of my friends are. Boston was beautiful. Like I've been to Boston once for work back in, I think it was 2014, possibly, one of my last years there. And I didn't get to see a lot of it, but I knew I liked it. And when I got back there and got to hang out with Steve, I was like, this city's awesome. I could live here, minus how cold it gets. But there's a lot of things to like about the States. Some of it reminds me of here, and some of it's completely different. I like the warm weather too, so I try to avoid winter here when I can, and then enjoy the summer over there. Even though people say, you're going to Florida in summer, that's crazy. I'm like, yeah, I love it. I don't know how to do that. Let's never do that again. All right, we'll go back to something a little more me. Bugera V5 Infinium. So I profiled the Bugera. And that's exactly how nasally it sounds at full blast. I just turn that up a bit. It sounds like it's not quite as loud. I need to sort of set the volume of a lot of these. Mark says, Mr. Cream says, yeah, Shane needs to get a red stripe PV Rage to complete his collection. I'm looking for one. Don't worry. I want to get all the red stripe amps, and I think that might be the last one in the that I need. Hey, DMS Productions, welcome, man. Did I see John Sageborn praise PV solid state amps yesterday? Things are really looking good for PV. Well, there you go. I didn't know that. That's cool. That's out of tune. Poor Strat. It gets abandoned. That's the Bigera sound right there. That's profiled with the Rode M3 mic. You should visit the Pacific Northwest. Amazing mountains and trees. Portland. Yeah, I'd love to check that out. Actually, that'd be really cool. I'll have to get over there at some point. I don't think I'm going to get to the States this year. I did have a birthday party I wanted to get to. It's my friend's 40th in June, but yeah, financially it's probably not the best move. So I'm gonna maybe get there next year. We'll see how we go. Six inline, 3 aside, says Shane. You know I only loaned you the Kemper, right? I don't know who that is. Who is that? Brett says, it's cool chatting with you. Thanks, man. Aussie, what was your job? So I used to work in IT. I basically managed the floor of a business in Melbourne. It was a global business. Their head office is in Boston. Does the Kemper get warm hot? No, not really. I don't think so. Yeah, it's like barely warmer than my hand. Maybe not even. It actually might feel a little cooler. So, yeah, not really. I don't have the powered one anymore. So I don't know if you can see it. It's just a rack unit. Thoughts on John Mayer's new single? Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Yeah, I just wish he'd do another trio album and play some stuff that he likes. I mean, he probably likes the pop stuff, but I kind of miss that sort of bluesy thing. You know, the waited ages after the trio thing for a great album. Then you got the Continuum one, which was great, and then I kind of felt like, you know, the album after that was pretty average. A couple of good albums with that Americana stuff. Maybe it was one too many of those. I like that style of music too, but I prefer to hear him sing with some attitude, man. I don't like the pop voice. I can't listen to it anymore. I don't know what it is. You listen to someone like Chris Kane or Michael Burks or Robert Cray sing, and then you listen to him. I miss when he was digging in, you know. Maybe it's something to do with his throat, but yeah. Six inline, 3 aside. I don't know what you meant by you only loaned me the Kemper. What do you mean by that? I don't know. By the way, the Jackson Does It Blues video was epic. Thanks. I got a few more coming up. I haven't filmed them yet, but I know already what I'm going to do. So I'm going to probably film one next week or the week after. I've got to stop. I've got to finish editing all the videos I shot with Rick, and then I'll get into that. I don't want to overdo those videos either. I'll do maybe 2 a month or 1 a month or something. No, it was a good joke. I just didn't know what you meant. That's all right. I was just wondering who you were. I thought maybe I might have known you from the shop or something, but there you go. That's for Mateo. The butchered version of that. So that riff is Who Do You Think I Was? But it's been a while since I played it, so hang on. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, goes something like that, I think. Yeah, I'll stop now. Am I planning on doing more streams around this time in the future? Just sort of depends, man. I don't really schedule them in. I just kind of do them whenever. So the next one will probably be maybe a little bit earlier. Dr. Ric is the fellow who plays bass and has the dance grooves. Yeah, he plays great guitar too. I mean, he's been on my channel for years, so he's a gun guitar player. But yeah, he can get on bass and do his thing as well. How's it from Cape Town? Welcome. Chilling on the couch watching the sun, Wolves versus Stormers. Cool. Favorite blues guitarist of all time? Probably Albert King. I got a lot of inspiration from Clapton, obviously, but Albert King's kind of stood the test of time for me. I think he's great. My current favorite one, hands down, Chris Caine. He may end up being my favorite of all time. I got this feeling like I saw him play live in Melbourne a couple of months back, or maybe 6 months ago now. I'm still listening to his CD in my car. I recorded it, the gig, and it's just awesome. There's so much great stuff. He's kind of like if you like blues players who can do all the classic stuff but take it into a whole different place, Chris is the best, man. He's so good. It's a deceptively hard riff. Yeah, Good Love Is on the Way is a hard song as well. I never learnt that properly. Yeah, I think that riff goes something like that. It's like I could be wrong. You might be playing different chords. I mean, I'm playing that from ear, but it's like... I'll tell you what, I've got that PRS thing in here. Let me grab it. The amp. The Mayer. Let me... Here we go. The J-Mod. Listen to how bad this sounds. That was the Bugera that you just heard. Woo! Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's a weird sort of riff. What's the good definition of tone? Whatever you like the sound of that works great and is pleasing to the ear. Good tone is something that sounds nice. Bad tone is the exact opposite. Hey, Tone King, welcome, man. How you doing? I was talking about you before. I watched I sent you a message too, by the way, on SMS. So, I sent you a message that would have made no sense because I didn't think you were still at home. So, yeah, if you're wondering why I sent you I assumed you were overseas, which, So, check out I left you a little voice message on your SMS. So, yeah. Yeah, the Bugera does sound better, doesn't it? This is not as pleasing, sort of. Whew. It's alright. Just bright, sort of clangy sort of sound. That's the J-Mod. And then if we put a Caline on the front of it, this is actually profiled with a Caline. So have a listen to this. This is the same J-Mod amp. Yeah, so So Lewis, yeah, you probably think I'm like nuts or I was drunk when I sent you that message making no sense. So that hopefully explained that. All right. I watched about 30 minutes of your live stream and it cracked me up. You're like, you unleashed the secret upon the internet. Now I'm going to get trolled. Is that a Dunlop wedge pick? No, I use chicken picks, man. I don't know if I can. Let's bring up my screen. Is that going to work? So this is a thing made in the Netherlands. It's a big, thick piece of plastic, or it's not plastic, but it's a composite material. This is still the first one I ever got. And then I bought a whole lot of these things, and I used to resell them on my website for a while. But yeah, they're really good. They last forever. They don't wear out. The funny thing is, I actually played a different pick recently that I like. There's these Jim Dunlop ones that are not quite as thick as these. They're maybe 1 point something mil that feel pretty good in the hand as well. So, but yeah, I've just been using these all the time. In most of the videos you've seen on demos for probably the last 3 years, I've been using these. I really like the Dragon Hearts picks as well. They look very similar. I have no idea where they went. I have just zero idea. China Guitar Skeptic? Oh, hey, welcome, man. Cool. Thanks for dropping in. Genuinely happy we can hang out in October. Yeah, me too, man. I was just like, for those who missed the start of the stream, you can scroll back and watch the whole thing. But basically, yeah, you know, I didn't really want to go unless I could get Rick there. I felt like it'd be good for both of us to go, and it'd be a good way for me to thank him as well for all the help he's given me over the years. You know, he's helped me with countless things, with videos and demos and all that kind of stuff. It'll be fun, and who knows, it might not be an ongoing thing. So this year I feel pretty comfortable about going, so I think it'll be good. Old Metal Dude, thanks, man. I appreciate that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well, man. I think it'll be fun for us to meet in person and hang out. That is nasty, man. I don't like that tone at all. Let's grab the Les Paul. Maybe this will help roll out some of that nastiness. Better with the Les Paul than it does the Strat. Alright. JH Schofield, Jazz 3 picks converted me for life. Cool. Clean sounds. Alright, let's do some cleans. Cleans are good. I think I had this one on at the start. It sounded pretty good. Oh, that's not the right one. Let's grab... I tell you what, my friend Ryan profiled his Turok, and this is what that sounds like. Let me just check the volumes. Yeah, this is really loud, this one. I just got to turn it down a little bit. Still too loud. Hang on. Ugh. Next time I'll set up a little closer to the Kemper so you don't have to see me reach over all the time. That's as clean as you're going to get. I think that just popped the ears. Rip headphone users. Sorry, guys. Yeah, this one's really loud. I gotta tweak some of these, but in terms of my clean patches, I made one from the Marshall, which I like. That's just an off clean kind of sound. I like that. Oh, I didn't know Terry's mum was sick. Sorry, man. Sorry to hear that. That's no good. That Les Paul is screaming for a Rockman profile. Cool. Shane and Phil on the stage at the same time. Oh, I don't know about that. Well, might let Rick work his wizardry, you know, with some of these guys, unless. Yeah, I don't play a whole lot of cover band stuff. I don't know what those guys will be doing, but yeah, we'll have some fun times. Hopefully, it'll be good. Like I said, if there's any spare time, or if I can, you know, hang out there for a few days, I'll shoot some Guitar Search Saturday videos. I've had a break from them for a little while, but I feel like now it's time to start doing them again. I miss. Yeah, I'm a little bit ahead of myself on YouTube. I got like 3 weeks done. So yeah, I'd like to start shooting some more of them. So that's the clean tones. That's the Marshall. Thanks, Terry. Have a good night, man. I'll speak to you in a bit. John says, hey Shane, almost bought a Vox AC4C12 12 tonight. I just couldn't pull the trigger, didn't get to spend much time on it at the shop. Yeah, just sort of have a good play on amps before you buy them. And if you've already got a comparison amp or something at home that you want to replace, take it in and put it up against it. Make sure you're making the right choice. And some of the most regretful amp choices were like, oh, this kills my amp, and I get it home and my old amp sounded better. So yeah, just have a good play on it. Make sure you like the tone. Those little Vox AC4s and the AC10's a really great little amp too. I had a chance to play that with Rick the other night. It was really good. Thoughts on Victory amps? I don't like them. I just... oh, hang on. Yeah, Victory amps. Is that what they're called? Let me just double check. There's Victoria amps, which I love. I think those things sound awesome. I just want to make sure I'm getting the right thing before I get confused between some of these brands. Let me just bring open a new window here. Victory amps are those sort of like... hang on. Let me find a picture. Yeah, I don't like them. There's a top end frequency that you it's really hard to get rid of. And it's more prominent the more you turn them up. I just find them really toppy and really lackluster. I've heard 2 or 3 of them in a live mix, and I'm yet to hear one that really blows my mind. I feel like the smaller 30 watt combos can't handle pedals. It just gets mushy. If you run them loud without any pedals, they sound alright, but I reckon the hype online for those is something that was heavily inflated or overly pushed, because I don't really like those amps. I've heard it's a 212 version that sounded okay, but the single 12 ones, I don't know, man. They're not high on my list. And when I got a chance to play, Brian and I, he had his heart set on one called the Duchess or something. I liked the idea of the amp, but when we heard it, it was just this. We were up close to the amp and it sounded pretty good, but when we stood back, it was like this head-cutting frequency that was coming through, and it was really tough to dial out. So for me personally, I don't necessarily like those amps at all. We then compared it to a Supersonic 60 head, and the Supersonic 60 was just everything that amp wasn't. It was bigger, rounder, fuller, nicer. And this is subjective. I mean, there's going to be people that love those amps, and that's fine. But for the sound I like, which is a sort of big round sort of sound, those amps don't have it. They've got a real MIDI kind of high-end thing going on that will appeal to some people. I just personally don't like them too much. So yeah, I don't think I won't be recommending them to many people unless they're, looking for a particular type of sound for whatever reason. They got maybe they got a really dark sounding guitar. Mateo, thanks man, appreciate that. Clean Les Paul tones are the best. Yeah, Les Paul's underrated, man, for cleans. Yeah, a whole thing on YouTube for a while. Like, there's this stuff that comes and goes in, like, big blocks and phases where you'll see, you know, these amps all pushed at once or these pedals all pushed at once. And I felt like the Victory hype was just... And it's funny because I was listening to some of these videos and the amps sounded terrible. I was listening to them, I got reference studio monitors in here, right? Got good headphones. I listened to it and I went, this sounds like crap. And everyone's like, oh, these are so good. Like, really? Is it the hype train or what am I missing here? Yeah. Well, there's a reason, you know. Like I said, I think shops push stuff to sell stuff, and that's fine. That's their job, you know. But what I don't like is when people that are making videos are swearing that what they're hearing is amazing and what you're listening to sounds terrible. I mean, given that recordings of amps won't sound as good as the amp in the room, I understand that, but there's certain things that I haven't heard enough nice things in Victory amps to go, wow, I want to buy one of these. Like I said, I've heard one that I didn't mind, and that's the 2 12-inch speaker one with the head. But the combos, man, they're just Ice Pick City. I don't know why they're so popular. Would you use Chinese effects for your recordings? Absolutely. For my last, not my last album, but the one before that, I used the Joyo American sound and the one that's the Vox, the AC sound on all my songs. So yeah, it's just about getting a good tone and whatever works. The G-Man says, hello mate, do you have an opinion on the Made in Japan Pearl chorus stuff? All of those Made in Japan Pearl pedals are awesome. So yeah, I would have, I don't know if I've tried that particular chorus, but I got a retro playlist, like a retro pedal playlist on my channel. And I did like all of the other Pearl stuff, like the compressor was awesome, the overdrives were great. Pearl got a lot of stuff right in the early days. And they're really great pedals. So I would almost have no hesitation saying that the chorus would be, you know, in that series would be great. I just ducked out to JCar and came back. I got the little bit I needed to connect the new mic to the phone, all set for the next hangout. Oh, cool, man. Awesome stuff. Yeah, those iPhone headphones, man, they've got to go. They're just terrible. And not just yours, I mean, just in general. Like, they're just, the audio fidelity is just awful. Alright. I think it's just national pride from Britain, which is fair. Yeah, and that's cool. Like, I have no problems with... And that's the thing, it's all subjective, right? Like, everyone likes different tones, and that's fine. What I like isn't what the next guy's going to like. So anytime someone says to me, hey, what would you choose out of these two? I'm like, which one do you like better? So there's nothing wrong with people liking... I'm looking at the wrong camera again. Let's have it. Nothing wrong with looking at it like that as well. They're supporting their stuff made in their country. But what I saw online wasn't just from Andertons. It was from more of the independent channels pushing this stuff, and that's what was concerning. Like, their recordings were terrible. I'm yet to hear. I'll tell you what. If you're watching this and you're a big fan and you saw a video that you went, wow, these sound amazing, send me a video link. I'd love to hear it. Because yeah, all the amps I've heard in person I haven't liked except one. It was okay. But it's that top end, man. Like, it's brutal. Yeah, there you go. Brandon's got that. He says, as far as British pride, I think you're forgetting about Marshall. Yeah, Marshall are my new favourites. Do I play slide? No. I can only get away playing very simple stuff. Will I buy a left-handed Chapman guitar? I don't know, man. There's probably other guitars I'd pick before it, but I'd like to maybe try a few of the new ones. I had a chance to pick up some of the original series, like their first release ones, and they were okay, but they weighed a ton. Like, this is heavy. Their Tally was heavier than this, so there would be no way I'd buy it. I heard that the new stuff isn't as heavy, but you know, they're kind of reinventing the wheel. Like most guitar companies, they're There might be a few that they've got that are unique, but they're all Tallies and Strats, and I don't know, man. If I'm going to buy a Tally or a Strat, I'll get a Fender. Unless I'm blown away by it. I'd like to be surprised, actually. So is Orange and Vox. Yep. And there's some videos we got coming up as well. So I think Orange is a surprisingly good amp brand. It's one that I've just avoided based on the fact I thought it was going to be a shredder amp, but they're pretty good. Thanks, Tone King. I'll speak to you soon, man. Thanks for dropping in. I appreciate it. Sorry I missed your live stream as well. I was out doing some shopping for the day and getting a few other little bits and pieces. So yeah, I'll watch most of your stream back. But thanks for the spilling the news early on, mate. I appreciate that. David Melbourne says, I played Harmony and Sigma guitars. I tell you what, Harmony guitars are awesome, man. My friend Ed in San Francisco has got a few old school Harmony acoustic electrics, like arch-top electric guitars, I should say. I took some photos of them and posted them on Instagram when I was over there last year. And they were unreal, man. Just JJ Cale. Watch JJ play. He plays Harmony guitars, or he used to. So if someone offers a Fender or a Sir, you take the Fender? Probably. I mean, look, that's a hard question. There's a lot of great Sir guitars too, but I don't know if I'd put Chapman guitars on the same level as Sir guitars. Sir guitars are like really refined, Fender guitars, basically, with an ugly headstock. But, they got the baked, what do they got? The baked maple fretboard and all that sort of stuff. Oh, no, they got the baked. No, they baked their wood or something, so it doesn't bend, basically. I can't remember the specs now. It's been a little while since I looked into them, but the ones I played at Jerry's were great. I just don't know if the Chapman guitars are going to be that sort of guitar. Like, are they going to be a Fender killer? I don't know. But I get it. They're appealing to a younger generation, and that's great. Like, that's what companies should be doing. They shouldn't just be recreating the same stuff year after year. That's not going to help their business model. Kevin Ullman says, I tried to refret a guitar for the first time. Did a terrible job. Yeah, I would never do that for myself. So, hats off to you, man, for trying. Good point about the Strat. I bought in a Strat Elite. I seriously love it. Yeah, they're good too. Talking about the hype, what's all the hype around the Harley Bentons? Are they really that good? That's a good question. I think a lot of the hype is probably pushed through certain channels and affiliations and all that kind of stuff as well. But I know guys that have got them and like them as well who don't have YouTube channels. So I think they're a good budget-friendly brand. Like, if you don't want to go spending a lot, you've really only got like the entry-level Squires in Australia, or you could order or Epiphones to some extent, or you could order Harley Benton and get something a little bit different. So I think their appeal is they're designed slightly different to what you might think. You've got a lot of options. And they come in at a price where you're probably going to have to sort a few things out on a few of the guitars to get them, up to gig ready. But overall, I think I don't know. I'm going to keep an open mind with it. I'd still like to try one at some point. Here we go. Cashed Up Bogan says Chapman are on par with Epiphone. Cool. That's good to know. David Melbourne says, Shane, I feel that the Reverend guitars they're the consistent quality and I love them. Yeah, Reverend guitars are underrated. I'm surprised more people don't really talk about Reverend guitars. Or the only guy I really see on YouTube using them is Andy from ProGuitarShop.com. He's like the only dude using a Reverend guitar, and he uses them a lot. There's just not a lot of dudes using them. They're really good. I remember years ago I had a chance to pick up a lefty, and probably should have kept it. I actually bought it and I thought it was made in the US and I paid good money for it, and I took it back because it was made in Korea or something. While I was in the US, I wanted to buy a US made guitar. I swapped it for a G&L. But thinking about it later on, I probably should have kept it. It was a really interesting guitar, had a lot of good options, had this really cool like boost passive boost circuit, you could kind of get more fatness out of the pickups and all that. It was really cool. Thomas says, what's the best place to buy lefty Tokais in Australia? If you want to buy them used, you could probably find them at the Swap Shop here in Melbourne. That's SWOP. Or you could get them from Muso City, which is pretty much, I think, the importer of them now. And they're in like Heidelberg East or something. That's where I got these from a shop that ended up closing down. But in the actual case, it said Muso City. So clearly they're the distributors. So just go direct to them. You'll get the best price. If you go to their shop, I don't know the guys there or anything, and you want to buy something in person, they'll give you a good deal. eBay as well. The same company, Muso City, sell them online. Anyone ever play a Court Source? Court make good guitars, man. Both acoustics and electrics. I think they're underrated guitars as well. Their PRS copy is awesome. Eastman, yeah, Eastman are good too. Yeah, the Supro guitars look great, but I haven't played one because there's no lefties. I should try the Kingsley pedals. Okay, cool. I haven't heard of them. F Guitars #1 from Croatia, welcome. It's my favourite Aussie band. Ooh, good question. Current Aussie band. I don't know any current Aussie bands, man. I'm so out of the loop. You know, growing up, one of my favourites was Midnight Oil. Like, I loved that band when I was growing up. I never really got into INXS when I was younger. I don't mind some of their songs, but it's just too... I don't know. It kind of bores me. I don't think I like the guy's voice that much, which is probably sacrilegious, but... yeah. AC/DC, I mean, like, they're probably the best known Australian band. You can't go wrong with a bit of Akadaka. Did I try Duesenberg guitars? Duesenberg guitars are amazing. So, the two best guitars I've ever played, or maybe top 3, Duesenberg would be in there and Nick Huber would be in there. They're both just fantastic guitars, man. You can get your hands on a Duesenberg Star Player TV. Amazing guitars. Do I like the Maton electrics? I had one for a couple of months, but I couldn't bond with the neck pickup. I loved the bridge. I loved the way it played and felt. I liked the look of it. I just hated the neck pickup. It lacked tops. It's this single coil, big single coil looking thing. And I just didn't have enough attitude, man. I just couldn't be bothered modding it. So a guy sent me a message on YouTube or Facebook or something back then. He said, "Hey, my lefty got stolen. I'm interested in buying it." I can't remember if he bought it in the end or someone else did, but yeah, I sold it and got my money back. So that happened exactly when the Fender Mustang thing. I returned the Fender Mustang, got store credit, got that guitar, sold the guitar, got my money back, almost. So yeah, look, they make okay stuff. I'm gonna try some of their higher end guitars coming up as well. I finally got some other lefties in. This Josh Hommig one, I think it's called. So I'll give that a rip. Maybe next week or the week after as well. Hey, that's cool. Patrick says, I met and hung out with the Oilers here in Orlando back in 88, 89. That's cool. Look, there were a lot of really great Australian bands back when I was in high school and that, but you know, the one I remember the most would probably be Midnight Oil. They had a lot of good albums out there. Any Aussie guitar amp brands that we might not have heard of outside Australia worth watching out for? Check out Ray Carlton Custom Guitars. I don't know the guy personally. A mate of mine's got a few of his guitars and they look pretty cool. And, you know, very Fendery but some of them aren't. They're like their own unique beast. They got unique paint jobs and all that kind of stuff. That would be one that comes to mind just off the top of my head. Ray Carlton custom guitars. There's a whole lot actually in Australia. When I went to the Melbourne Guitar Show, I ran into a lot of builders. If you watch that Guitar Search Saturday episode I did from the Melbourne Guitar Show, if you punch that in, throughout that video, there's a whole lot of Australian builders that are making beautiful stuff. I just can't recall their names off the top of my head. What are my thoughts on the Bugera V22? I think it's great. A friend of mine, Alex, actually bought one and took it to the jam a few weeks back, and he goes, "Oh, can you help me dial it in?" I'm like, "Just give it a shot." So I ended up going over there and I dialed it in for him, and I thought it sounded great. It's a really nice sort of, it's a good amp. It's loud enough to gig with, which was surprising. It's got a boost function, a clean, like you can use clean or dirty, and then you can boost it as well on the dirty channel. I really liked it. China Guitar Skeptic says, "I gotta go to work, mate. Give me a shout out if you want to chat about the Bentons." Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll be in touch. Cool. Thanks, dude. We can maybe do a hangout or something like that. That'd be cool. I think I missed a comment here which relates to something else, so I'll keep going here. Same. Oh, I'm not too sure what I'm looking at. So anyway, yeah, the Bugera was surprisingly good. Let's just put it that way. It really does have a vintage sort of vibe about it. It's not like a high gain amp. It sounds kind of squishy and Fendery on the clean. It's got that sort of kind of deluxe reverb-ish kind of sound. I reckon, from what I heard of it the other week, it might be my friend Alex's best sound. That and his PV Classic 30. They were both pretty good. So yeah. Alright guys, I might make a move and jump off. I'm starting to get a sore back and a sore throat. Had a late night last night, so I'm all husky from the gig. But yeah, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out. And yeah, if I missed your question, feel free to leave it on the chat once it goes onto YouTube in its cached mode. And I'll get back to you. I always check the comments if I can. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the live stream. Thanks for hanging out, guys. And I'll leave you with a little bit of Smoke on the Water. No, I'm just kidding. I won't do that. What should I play? I'll try, let's do a... That's what we get. Alright guys, have a good night. Thanks, or good day, or whatever. The amp I'm using is the Kemper. It's based, I profiled the Marshall DSL-40 on the Crunch channel. Alright guys, take it easy. Thanks again. And yeah, we'll catch you all soon. Thanks for hanging out.